Thanks for listening to GYST.
You're listening to Get Your Shit Together with Adina and Diane, a digestible health and fitness show for women.
Real quick, the content of this podcast is intended for general information only and is not medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Chat with your healthcare provider before making changes. Okay? Okay, cool.
I think they got it. Let's jump right into this week's episode. Uh-oh. Okay. We're back.
We're back for another episode.
Another
97th episode. I had to start with this sweatshirt off because these headphones get a little hot.
I'm telling you, you gotta get these ones.
I know.
Ever since I switched, I have the coldest ears in all of podcast land.
And the highest ponytail. We love to see it. But
do you know
that's your show and tell.
In, I think, like 5th grade, I wore my hair exclusively like this. My curls used to be much tighter back then, and I would pull it into a high pony and just pull it.
Oh, cute. I love it. I'm growing mine out slowly but surely, still getting trims for the health of my hair. But this is what I was going to wear. Oh my gosh, where's the front?
Wait,
Michigan.
Come back to your mic.
Yes, Michigan. Lake Michigan, unsalted. Is this a good look?
I would go for salted, but that's fine.
Well, we like fresh water. We like when there are no sharks.
Mm-hmm.
Also, yeah, I like salt water as well. But Lake Michigan is gorgeous, and Michigan summers are so pretty. Michigan fall as well. So I just got back from a reading retreat, a bookish gals weekend. So me and 3 of my gal pals got a cutie Airbnb in Leelanau. That is, if you're watching over here on the mitten, the only state that can do this, right? Like, yeah, up here. And we just loaded up our Kindles, loaded up our books in our bags. I brought painting supplies and took a gouache painting class. Doug, excuse me, mom's talking. So one of my former one-on-one clients, and I always think of her username, Ann Danger, on Instagram. But she is an author of Women Throughout History. You may have seen her book in bookstores. It's so beautiful. She has a gouache painting class on Skillshare. So I was doing that and reading. And we went out to have lovely dinners, a really amazing brunch that I'll tell you about and what we're consuming. But it was such a restorative weekend. And I highly recommend everyone book their own girls' book weekend.
That sounds delightful, and I'm so glad you had that opportunity.
It was so fun. Great for nervous system health, for sure.
Yeah. You know what's not great for nervous system health is like sleeping 2 hours a night.
Wouldn't recommend. And
No.
2 broken hours, I think you said, right?
Yes. Wasn't even consecutive. It was like, it was a time.
For how hard he parties, he really looks bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the selfies that you send me, where you are struggling and Ori's just like...
That's the craziest part. You would never know. If you saw this baby during the day, you would never know what his nights are like.
But he sleeps during the day, too, right? He's nocturnal.
Sweet man. I mean, it's not like he sleeps the whole day away, but like he takes naps, and he like takes naps in a crib, and he puts himself to sleep for said naps in said crib. And then at night, he's just like, hold me, mom, and I will be awake.
Have you thought about getting a revenge by waking him up during the day? But then it's just a lose-lose for everyone involved.
Yeah, I lose. Mostly me is the one who loses.
What a rude roommate to keep you up all night like that.
But he's very cute. That's the annoying thing. Is like every morning, the whole night you're like, and then in the morning he just looks at you and he's like, but remember how cute I am. And he's doing
it's like Neil when he snores, and I'm like, oh, but he kept me up, but he's so cute.
It's just the same. Just
yeah, it's exactly the same.
So yeah, but last night was a hair better. So I'm okay. I'm alive and well.
The bar is lower. Like, I'm okay. Thriving, maybe not.
The bar is very low.
Yeah.
I didn't train this week yet, which was the responsible thing to do. You know, we're always talking about how you can train when you're sleep deprived, but to a point, like 2 broken hours, I wouldn't train the next day.
No. No, wouldn't recommend. I'd recommend to you also a reading retreat. One of the girls that came out has a 2.5-year-old daughter. And sometimes she's like, I'm just going to go upstairs and lay. And it's so nice to not have a little person like on me. And I can just go do that. So I'm really happy she was able to make it out before she has her second baby.
Yeah, Ori would not authorize that behavior on my part. He just can't
Not
be away
approved.
from me for longer than 2 hours.
Well, have you had any time for any media? Did he join you for anything while you were up all night?
Okay, so let me say this. The positive. So Donnie and I keep trying to talk about like the things that are going well with Ori and like what we're grateful for. So he's the sweetest. He's the cutest baby. He's so sweet. And he has been putting himself to sleep at night and sleeping from like 7 to 10.
A little sprinkle.
At least. Yeah. Sometimes it's longer, but at least to 10. So it gives us the opportunity to sit on the couch together, eat some dinner, watch a show. And then I have been giving myself a very strict bedtime lately.
Yeah, you said 9. You're a 9er.
Yeah, I will not get in bed past 10 anymore, with the exception of tonight because we're recording this episode.
I was like, hold up.
And I had to coach last night also. So last night was a 10:20 night. But every other night when there's no meetings and there's no coaching and there's no recordings, we're straight to bed. Straight to
jail.
bed. Yes. You undercooked chicken?
Straight to jail.
jail.
Straight to jail. So what were you watching? I know you told us about Surf Girls.
Surf squirrels.
Yes. Squirrelies.
So we continued to ride the wave, and we are watching 100-Foot Wave, which it's a show from a few years ago, and it is an HBO production. So very, very well done. There's 2 seasons out. The second one just came out, I think. And okay, the first season is so good. It's basically the story of this guy, Garrett McNamara. He's a big wave surfer from Hawaii. And
I think I heard of him when we went to Hawaii.
yeah, he pretty much like had a conversation with someone and decided that the biggest waves ever surfed were going to be in Nazaré, Portugal. And
I've seen pictures.
yeah, so he went over there and he like, no one was really surfing those waves. So he figured out how to surf these waves. And it's just kind of like the journey of this place and this guy and this culture and big wave surfing. And it was just, it's such a good character story, but it's also so beautiful to watch and so interesting.
It's like a documentary following him.
Yeah, and it's just really interesting how it unfolds, like as they start to surf these waves, and it's like a dangerous wave, and how they figure out how to do the safety, and how it just like describing it won't do it justice. You really just have to watch it. And then
watch it.
Season 2, there's still really, really wonderful storytelling. The storytelling in the first season is like chef's kiss, like so unexpected and just like a beautiful journey. And Season 2, there still is a lot of that, and we're just getting into more of the part that we're really enjoying. But there was a lot of COVID stuff in Season 2. It's a lot of like
stress.
There's a whole episode of like, there's a surf ban, and now we just follow these people being bummed out that they can't surf, and they're doing their COVID test.
Wait, that makes
they weren't
sense.
allowed in the water.
I thought you were gonna say there's a surf ban unless you wear your mask while you're surfing.
By the way, there was some footage of people in California surfing with masks on, and I was
Shut up. Of course there was.
Yeah.
I see that Laird Hamilton is in this, and he has that superfood creamer that I see at Costco sometimes. Ingredients are decent.
Yeah, highly recommend that HBO production though. Like it's just
they have
such
that
good
HBO
storytelling.
money.
So beautiful to look at. I'm finding that even though some of the episodes are a little stressy, like just watching waves for an hour is so nice.
I like when, I think you've done this before. My friend Meg also will do like her 60 seconds of calm and recording the waves on Lake Michigan, those freshwater waves. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so gorgeous out here right now. So I haven't been watching anything, but I have been reading a lot because bookish
Because,
retreat.
you got to be reading.
So I finished one book while I was up north. We actually did have time. It wasn't one of those like, yeah, we're going to read, and then we just like play. We all had some dedicated reading time. I started and finished The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. If anyone has Kindle Unlimited, it's on there as part of your membership. But it was a top tier thriller. It was really good. So the premise of this woman is released from prison. She's looking for a job, having a hard time finding one because of her past. She ends up interviewing to be hired help housemaid for this couple. She gets the job and she has to sleep in the attic. That's a bummer, but she's just happy to be there. One of her employers is just so cranky and so slappable in this book. But without giving anything else away, there are just so many twists. And I didn't guess as many as I thought I would. I thought, oh, I've read enough thrillers. Like, they can't slip one by me.
I know books.
But the face journey I went on reading this, and one of my friends this weekend, she had already read it. And she was like, where are you? Like, what % are you through the book? So I already have the next one queued up and a couple of others. But The Housemaid was very good. I would highly recommend it. And it wasn't scary. So I can't do scary true crime. It was a thriller. There was no gore. Well, a dash of gore, but
just a touch.
It was very good. And heading into spooky season.
Yeah,
into it.
Perfect.
So
you would not have wanted me on your reading retreat because
you guys want to hear about feet and buttholes? That'd be the whole time. I would want you on my reading retreat.
Oh, that's
you
so
could paint.
Sweet.
You could have painted.
I could paint. Yeah, whenever. So like on Shabbat afternoon, now that Shabbat ends later, there's like that time when all the kids are sleeping and Donnie and I get to sit on the couch and like we talk about it all day. We're like, okay, we're going to put the kids to sleep and then we're going to sit on the couch and read our books. And then we sit on the couch and Donnie starts reading his book and I'm like, talk to me.
I can't talk and read at the same time. I have I'm like a mood reader, and also for fall, I want to have a fantasy fall, and there are a few series that I have queued up, a sci-fi and a couple of nonfiction, but I've been tearing through my Goodreads stack. If anyone wants to be friends on there, I saw some of the GYST cuties added me on there so I can see what they're reading too.
Well, we love that for you.
Yeah. What did you eat?
What did I eat? Not too much interesting. I did. You'll like this. I made such a yummy loaf of sourdough, and I was like, this needs something to spread on it that's not just butter. So I took some za'atar and I mixed it into butter and made like a compound za'atar butter and just spread it all over my bread.
Spread that butter.
It was very yummy. But also that restaurant that we had gone to together for sushi, Ninihachi, remember? That lunch we got?
I do.
Yeah. We ordered from there because Minnie really wanted to order sushi this week. And we had never done this before, but we got the Japanese pickles. And they were so good. It was like...
What makes them Japanese?
It was like...
what flavoring do they have on them?
It was kind of sweet and sour. Like it was very... I imagine it was rice vinegar because it was a little sweeter. And it was like cabbage, like crunchy cabbage and carrots.
And cucumbers?
Cucumbers, carrots. There was some seeds in there. And it was just delicious and refreshing. And I loved it.
Sounds like I need to recreate that with summer produce. Well, yeah. I haven't been cooking at all because I've been
retreating.
Retreating, yes. Retreating. So
treat yourself.
We went out to a couple of dinners, and I can save them in the show notes, and maybe I need to just add this to like a Michigan post overall, because I know there are a lot of you who are in Michigan or who would like to plan a visit. Please come over to the Mitten. So
maybe we need to start a GYST Google map.
Yeah, like where is everyone, and just drop a pin where you are.
No, you know when
so
you make a map with like restaurants on it, and you can save them, and then someone could follow you, and then we could ask some of our listeners to submit, and we could have like a global map of all the best restaurants.
Yes, I have one of where we went in Tel Aviv, but I know there's so many that didn't make it on that list too.
Yeah,
love it. So a couple of highlights. We went to Riverside in Leland, Riverside Inn, which is overlooking the water. It's beautiful at sunset. Beautiful if you can get there during fall colors through October.
So what is that?
Miss
that living in the desert.
I love the fall colors here. We had this corn soup I'm still thinking about that was really delicious. But my favorite overall dinner of the 2 nights we were there was at Wren in Sutton's Bay. And
That's
my
Ren
friend and
with
I
a
did
W for those
Ren with
following
a
along at
W.
home.
Yes. And I had whitefish. Like whitefish is really big around here. And they left the skin on just as I would prefer. And it had a really perfectly seasoned broth with some heirloom tomatoes. And there was another course with heirloom tomatoes. Everything's seasonal. All of the meat and, well, not all the seafood, but all the meat came from local areas. So perfectly balanced cocktails. That might be my new favorite restaurant in Northern Michigan. It was fantastic. But also breakfast. You have to go to Northport, Michigan, and go to the Tribune. It's this little small cozy looking town. I didn't watch Gilmore Girls, but I imagine shows like that would be set in like this cute little town like this.
Did one of your friends like say this is like Stars Hollow, and you were
Yes, I believe so.
like,
They're
I'm
like,
out of the loop.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know what that means, but maybe Adina and some of our listeners would. So breakfast there was great. They had homemade biscuits,
Yum.
jam, and pesto, so you could break it in half and have like a sweet and savory.
I think I
And
need
then
to
they
make a
did-
sourdough biscuit. That's what I'm thinking now.
The biscuit, like up here, I'm so far north, I don't really have access to, unless I make it, a good southern biscuit. They nailed it, and that was quite far north in Michigan. And then I had soft scramble with roasted mushrooms and zucchini and sprouts and, oh my God, goat cheese. Fantastic. We kept saying, this is one of the best breakfasts I've ever had. It was
That
so
is
good.
such a nice feeling for you. I'm so happy.
Yeah, like all of us were like, this is just what we needed. All 4 of us just really loved it. So add it to your list. Add it to your calendar if you're in Michigan or passing through.
Wow. Love that.
Well, before we get into the meal of this episode and what's on your plate,
What's on your plate?
what's on your plate, we have
Put
to
that
read
on
this.
your plate.
Yes, ma'am. We have to read this review from Bryn Bauman on Apple Podcasts. She said 5 stars, and she said, a must listen for all the ladies of the world.
You hear that, ladies of the world?
It says, all right, ladies, after a few episodes, I'm hooked. So much good info here. You guys are so naturally funny. Thanks. And relatable while giving really good practical info for us gals. A rare gem indeed. As someone who feels pretty well versed in the health world, I'm learning so much. I recently started STHH.
Welcome.
Ooh, snaps for Brid. And just really love everything you guys are about. I've been sharing everything I'm learning with my husband because I can't shut up about it. Okay, bye.
I'm sure he loves that.
Yes. Keep spreading the good word, Bryn.
Oh, Bryn, thank you so much for this lovely review.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Well, now we've talked about all the things on our plate. We want to talk about what's on yours in this episode. And you might think, like, what does that mean?
Wait,
Why are we
Diane,
talking about
what an
that?
excellent transition.
It's like I've done this almost 100 times. Take a drink of water. Everybody.
Yeah, unclench your beehole. Buckle up. We're about to talk about all the things that have been stressing you out lately. No, not really.
You can't see, but it's unclenched.
Okay, good. We shouldn't be able to see. Well, the YouTube girlies can see. Did Diane spit out her water? We need to know. For those listening on the podcast app, we are not actively showing our buttholes on YouTube.
I couldn't swallow. Oh. Adina, pull up your pants. They don't need to see.
Oh, man.
My shorts are on. I do have this shirt that's very on brand. It says Temos Coco. We have cocoa. I do have coconut water in my massive jug.
The massive jugs are filled. No, mine is actually just water today. All right, shall we?
Yeah, so anyway, we wanted to do this episode to help you figure out what support, what accountability you might need. What do you need right now in this season as we head back to school transition into fall? I know that transition, as we've talked about in summers past, can be a big stressy one. Like if you think about Sunday scaries, the end of summer scaries can be a real thing.
Yeah. I just like sob to summertime sadness, you know?
I love Lana. I'm really in a Lana moment right now. If anyone
Aren't we
sees my
all
Spotify.
always?
She sounds like a ghost, and I don't care.
Oh, love it. Yeah, I actually feel like I don't have as much of that now that I live in the sunshine. But
I do listen to her when I'm happy too. There's something about Lana in summertime.
yeah, same. But I just mean the summertime scaries are
Totally.
less so for me now. But I think, yeah, there's still some stuff. There is stuff. I am definitely craving routine. We are really enjoying ourselves. My kids just finished camp, so that's been an interesting shift to kind of see how we're navigating a little less structure.
Yeah.
And
we hear this from so many of you too. Like, I have a lot of things. Let's change in my structure and routine is a lot. Or maybe you think like, I'm gonna start training. I'm gonna start strength training in the fall after things slow down. When life slows down, I will do that hair test when things slow down. And it's like this unicorn shifting thing that just never seems to happen. And we also hear from moms who are struggling to feed themselves in the morning with the rush of getting their littles off to school, fed and off to school. I'll hear it from clients who are saying that they are starting a new job or who are moving, or their job at work is moving from summer Fridays off to full swing fall. And it's just a lot to adjust to this time of year.
yeah, maybe you're a teacher and you're going back to the classroom, and now all of a sudden your plate is really full and you can't unclench your beehole because you're in the classroom all day and you don't get to poop at your own accord.
Right? Like, especially if they're an elementary school teacher, you can't very well just leave them to have like a 20-minute siesta on the toilet. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Maybe you have like lots of events, travel planned, and that's taking you away from your routine. There's a lot that happens with this shift. Yeah, maybe you felt really overwhelmed with that lack of structure in the summer, and like now you're like, I am kicking it into gear. I am ready. I'm signing up for the thing. I am taking care of myself. And so this shift in the seasons, it means so many different things to so many people. And so we thought it would be really fun to do this episode and talk through different types of accountability and help you to clarify what you may be looking for given what is on your plate in the coming season. So whichever camp you fall into, whether this is like a relief that your kids have more structure and you have some more space to yourself, or it's a huge stress that something big is changing and there are more demands in your schedule, whatever this shift in season feels like for you, we are hopefully throughout this episode going to show you how you can care for yourself in like a super supportive way, no matter what this shift in season looks like.
Exactly. And honestly, maybe if you are someone, maybe we're on episode 150 in real time, but you are going through and listening through in order. I know there are a bunch of you who do that, and I love you for it. Maybe it's not summer, but you're like, I'm listening, I'm learning, I'm thinking about what route to go with Adina and Diane, like which of their programs make the most sense for me, and you have some questions. And so we're going to include we're going to answer in this episode some common questions or common hesitations, or speak to common hesitations that people share with us, because maybe some of them are on your mind too.
Yeah, definitely.
And I can help you make a decision or take some things off your plate and put some other things on it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So what are some things that they may be thinking? With that in mind, what are some things that we hear from clients, from people who are thinking of working with us, who have messaged us in the DMs? Some things that I hear through the summer is, I don't have time to take care of myself. I'm juggling 100 things. I'm getting littles off to school. I have a lot going on at my job. And we're also traveling. Like, maybe there are other things that come up. I hear that a lot.
Yeah. If you are a homeschool mama, maybe you feel like you do not have a second to take care of yourself in September. I hear that one a lot. Yeah, there are a shocking number of like homeschool mama homesteaders in STHH, which is so fun.
I love that.
Yeah.
I hope that they show all if they have any animals. I always want to see animals that people have. So
yeah, show us your animals.
Should show them in the class. Show us your animals. I was gonna make a bad pun. I'm not gonna. I'm
Okay,
PG-13.
good.
They
So
know. They
on-
know the sass.
Uh-huh.
This one, I know I hear a lot, or I've overheard too, and that is, I don't need a coach because I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. I just need to be accountable. I need to figure out what to do. I just need to stick with something. I need to just get my shit together. Some variation of that. I don't need a
Yes.
coach. I just need to.
I need
long
to do
list
it.
after
I know
that.
what to do. I need to do it.
Which, yeah, true. But we'll talk to that one in this episode a bit more.
Yeah. And this is a crowd favorite recently, but
Oh, please hold. We set off alarms with that one.
what happened?
Oh, it was a car alarm. They figured it out.
Okay. With that one, a crowd favorite of I don't need a coach. I don't need a program. I listen to GYST.
I listen to GYST. Yes. And we're flattered. We love that you get so much value from us. This is why we started doing this, was to reach a larger audience and women who might not be able to work with us for a bit, or who want to try us on by listening to our banter and other weird shit like that. But we'll hear this a lot. I listen to GYST. I get so much value there. What could possibly be inside your courses that you haven't already covered in the hours, the hundreds of hours you have at GYST? So that's a frequent flyer. And that is a perspective. That's a perspective.
Yes,
We
it
are
is.
so glad that you've learned stuff here, and you learn a lot, and maybe even grab some quick tips that have made you feel better, and grab some of those wins in your health, in your fitness, in the way that you think about your body and your health. And I also want to offer you a new perspective to try on. And that is, if you think that GYST is a fun time, a fun, educational, edutaining time, then imagine what it's like when we work together.
Oh, baby.
Yes.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Because we are generous here, but our clients, they get the full
They get
kit
the
and
lovin'.
Yeah, they get everything and then some. So that's just something I want to offer for you. And
Yes.
also on a practical note, why would we have courses if we shared everything here?
We want to charge some people, and we want other people
No,
have
it doesn't
for
like make
free.
it make sense. The math is not mathing there. Like, yes, we are generous here because we want more women to take charge of their health and to feel good. And we also just want to have fun. And this is a great platform instead of us just voice messaging each other for hours upon hours. Like, we wanted to share with you, but also a podcast, listening to our podcast is not the same or a replacement for working with a coach who can customize for you your plan and make a plan, a program that will suit your body's unique needs, your goals, and also just help you through the day to day of feeling crummy and not wanting to do the thing. Or if you're doubting yourself, we hype you up. There's so many other things that we cover inside all of our different coaching containers or courses.
Yes, not the same.
Yes.
Not the same. And there's a difference also between conversations around health, which is what happens here, like conversations around things that we're thinking about in health, with our health on these journeys, and like the work that needs to be done. You know, like we have plenty of clients who are inside of our programs, who have done one-on-one with us, who have done group programs with us, who have taken our courses, who listen to the podcast and are like, there are things that happen on the podcast that are a completely different thing, you know, and give me things to think about and help me to deepen and help me to continue on this journey. But it's not the work that needs to happen to get you from point A to point B, you know?
No. Yeah, not the same. So now let's shift gears a little bit and talk about what is it costing you to keep a full plate? And when we say that, we mean, what is it costing you to do what you're currently doing, to try to do it all, to say, I'm researching, I'm going to figure this all out on my own. I don't need a coach, or just to stay in your current situation, your current program, your exercise program or lack thereof, or, you know, dealing with bubble guts and food intolerances. Like, what is that costing you to stay in that situation?
Yeah, and I love you said, what is it costing you to keep a full plate? Because some people hear a full plate and they're like, oh, that's what I want. That's the good thing. But we've talked about this before where people think like, oh, my plate is too full to hire a coach right now. But hiring a coach, paying for a program, paying for a blueprint that works, that has worked for hundreds of women, takes things off of your plate. When your plate is full and you feel like I am struggling, I cannot figure out how to manage this amount of hours in the day. Like it doesn't feel like the stuff is getting done that needs to get done. It doesn't feel like I am taking care of myself in the way I need to be taking care of myself. It's like, where did those 24 hours go? I feel like I didn't eat anything or go to the bathroom or do anything for myself. Hiring a coach, signing up for the program, paying for the blueprint organizes the 24 hours, and it helps you find the time and space to care for yourself in the way that you need to move the needle on your health.
Exactly. Coaches help you maximize the resources that you have, time, energy, investment. And in that regard, coaching really is the shortest thing to a shortcut, or closest thing to a shortcut. And I'm thinking, I guess food is on my mind with all the food analogies in that recent tasting menu experience. But I think of, you could have the DIY, do it all, figure it out situation as like a buffet with everything that you could possibly think of. I think of like the Cheesecake Factory, where you're like, oh, that's great. Like I could have Mediterranean, I can have Japanese food, like some sushi over here, and then I can have American, like all of it. And then I can leave kind of feeling like satisfied, maybe, but also sick. Like
what happened in there?
Overwhelmed by the menu. It is a thick book at Cheesecake Factory. And then I've also had on the opposite end some curated tasting menu experiences where not only do they course out like this very thoughtful menu, but they might also do like a drink pairing suited to your taste. Like you tell them what you like, and then they just really curate an experience for you, and you just feel so taken care of and seen. That is the goal of coaching versus like, oh my God, I could save this carousel post over here, or this buffet item.
I listened to that podcast, but then it contradicted this podcast. So now I don't know what to do.
What do I do? So this person says fasting, and then this person says eat all day. Like, what's a gal to do?
What's a gal to do?
Yeah. Curated plate. That's what you find with coaches. So what is it costing you to keep a full plate? The first one we kind of alluded to, we've mentioned it before, is you end up wasting time scrolling Instagram for your health solutions, saving posts to those collections, those swipe through posts that tell you, here are the quick little things that you need to do in the morning before 10 a.m. for your hormones. It sounds great, but then you have a collection that collects dust in your Instagram folders.
3 best exercises for your low back pain.
Yeah, the 3 best exercises.
If you just save it, your back pain goes away. Did you know that, Diane?
Yes, and it is not a program. That is not a program.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Whether it's car alarms or lawnmowers.
No, not the lawnmower.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, maybe you are experiencing excess stress on your body because you are lifting things throughout your day to day that feel very hard. So I know we talk about this a lot, but people might think that training is too stressful on the body if you are already so overwhelmed and exhausted and the stuff. But being weak is very stressful on the body. So perhaps you are experiencing all of that stress by keeping your plate so full. And perhaps there's this whole other thing on the other side that is feeling strong in your body so that the day-to-day heavy stuff doesn't wear you down.
We talk about this one or use this example all the time, but I think of putting a carry-on bag overhead in the overhead bin, and just notice how easy it is. Oh my God, such a flex. Easier it is for me to do that now. And then I'll see people my age who are struggling to get that overhead, or have overheard friends who are just over 30 who are like, oh, well, my back's bad. I'm over 30. And
God forbid you should be strong and capable and functional once you're 30, Diane.
Yeah, I'm not going to accept that it's all downhill from here.
Yeah. And lumped in with that one is maybe you are experiencing pelvic floor issues because you are not strong and balanced and your pelvic floor is taking the brunt of the load. Eek. So maybe you're leaking, maybe you're constipated, like not addressing this stuff, not carving out the time, not carving out the investment to build a strong and balanced body. It takes a toll day to day. And there are symptoms that you are experiencing that you do not need to be experiencing.
Yes. And on the gut health front, as you mentioned, constipation, something that I'll hear folks say that is costing them to stay there is to know that you have right now food intolerances, food sensitivities, and watching that list of feel-good foods grow smaller and smaller and smaller because you're trying to avoid tummy terror. And you're like, oh, well, I miss eating lasagna. I miss having ice cream, but I just can't have that. And you've written it off as, oh, I'm just going to have to be lactose intolerant as a life sentence. You've written off the idea that you can bring these foods back with success. And so you don't get to enjoy food at restaurants the way that you deserve. And I hate that for you. I want you to have that whole tasting menu. Like actually this past weekend when I ordered that tasting menu, at the bottom it said substitutions are politely declined, because it is hard for their kitchen, right? If they are trying to do a tasting menu and it's very curated, like local ingredients, to make substitutions for dietary restrictions sometimes. Like I know other restaurants are going to try to accommodate where they can, but seeing that reminded me, like there was a time where I couldn't have done that tasting menu because I knew that course 2 or course 4 would cause bubble guts for me. And being able to go through that on Saturday night and enjoy all of it without feeling like I needed to go and get that one stall bathroom afterwards or mid-meal even was so freeing. And I wasn't anxious because I wasn't worried about my stomach acting out. And I got to have the full tasting menu. And I want that for you too. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, ice cream's yummy. Like, don't be dealing with that.
It's also grad school, like dairy reintroductions. Yeah. So if you have dabbled with dairy reintroduction and you like started there, like let's pull it back and let's talk.
I know a lot of people putting their life on the line for the ice cream.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And in line with a lot of that, digestive health, pelvic floor health, like back pain we talked about earlier. Back pain, like you don't have to have back pain. There are so many strategies that we can teach you to navigate pain so it is not an everyday chronic thing for you. Like don't accept back pain. There's so much that we can do. Don't say my plate is too full, I can't strength train and I'll just have back pain. That's dumb. Don't do that.
It is very common, but it is not normal. Back pain is common, but not normal for 30 plus women ages 30 plus.
Yeah. And what about all those just like aches and pains from being so wound up and not knowing how to breathe? I can't tell you how many people come into STHH and get through 1 week that is focused on the breathing drills and email me like, this ache is gone. That pain is gone. Who knew? And it's like, yeah, your nervous system finally got the opportunity to be like, oh, she knows how to breathe.
Yes. It sounds simple, but it can take some time to learn those patterns to get you in that rested state, right?
Yeah. And it makes everything better, right?
Mm-hmm. I love these two together because I often hear them together and they also are so normalized, and that is feeling so run down and just feeling exhausted, feeling tired. And then we normalize using caffeine through the day and then wine to take the edge off. But what is it costing you to go through a full day, full-time work and then go home and not have energy to play with your kids? Like one of the like wins that I've heard from a client after we finished her program that still like almost makes me want to cry is just saying that she felt like she had energy to play with her daughter now, like after work. So she had have energy to go through work and then energy to play with her daughter instead of just lay on the couch because she was so exhausted. So what is it costing you to feel exhausted day in, day out, or to rely on a cup, a mug, or a pot of coffee and not have that energy to spend with the people that you love? So that one is big. And then also when my heart breaks every time I hear a woman say, my period's so awful, my PMS is so awful, I can't get together during that time because I know it's going to be Shark Week, and day 2 of my period is so bad I have to lay in bed. And just kind of accepting that that's normal, or pounding Midol or whatever it may be
once a month.
That is at least a week or more. If you're thinking too about debilitating PMS or PMDD and painful flow and heavy flow period, that is too long to not feel well, babe. And so what is that taking from you? I know we've talked about like when I was in Italy and I had like an easy cycle, or I'll hear from clients who are like, I was able to travel on day 2 of my cycle and not feel like I needed to just be back at the hotel. That is huge, and that can be possible for you too.
Wait, I want to back up to what you're saying about having energy to play with your kids, because I think there's a few things wrapped in there that we need to talk about. Number one is how normalized it is for people to need a stimulant to get through their day, and then another drug to wind down from their day. I think
also stimulant to get through workouts too.
Yes. Like, it's just crazy that this mommy wine culture and the world of coffee
just
culture.
Need coffee.
Yeah, it's like those dumb cups that are like the cups that have like the ticks on them that are like, don't talk to me yet, like not ready. Okay. Like, it's just so crazy. It's just like, just wake up and talk to me. It's fine. But that's a huge piece of it. And then also around having energy to play with your kids, I think, like you were saying, it just lights me up so much when people in the STHH chat are talking about how much stronger they feel lifting their kids and how much more capable they feel to play with their kids. Just like what it brings to your life to feel strong and capable for your days. But also around blood sugar and energy, I think, like, how many times do we hear from clients that they're just not snapping at their kids the way that they used to?
Yeah, when we figured out that piece.
Yes.
Light bulbs.
It's like, you didn't know that you could mom in a completely different way when your blood sugar is balanced.
Right. Like, do I need to be diagnosed with general anxiety? Maybe. Or do I also need to be fed and nourished in order to have a more stable mood?
Yeah. Are you just like not capable of being the mom you know you can be because your blood sugar is wacky? Like, don't deal with that anymore. That seems dumb. I'm feeling a different energy from me and Diane today. She's like so sweet to all of you right now, and I'm like, you're dumb.
That's dumb. Don't do that. Which is surprising because I am like
a long time.
I am, I think, late luteal phase. We're cycle day 25 over here. But what's the moon doing? I don't know. Doug is snoring, and that might be in the background. But when is it not? This one is kind of sensitive topic, but
so I'll let you take this one because I don't think I can handle it today.
I mean, we still have time in this episode, room for me to get spicy. So this one breaks my heart too. We're talking about, painful periods and the struggle that is every month. But so many times I've heard from women and new clients that they are having trouble conceiving. They've been trying, they took out the goalie. They've been trying to catch a baby for a little bit. They took the goalie out. They're like, we're trying. We're having sex a lot. It's not happening yet.
Diane, did someone tell you that expression, or you know what it means when someone pulls the goalie?
I know what it means. It means the goalie is not in the net.
Just checking sports,
The goalie is not keeping the sperm away from the egg. I just picture now like a little guy, at the base of your cervix, just like, yeah, fighting them off.
That's what goalies
you
do.
Can have this. That's actually what it looks like. So where was I? So couples tell me like, we are trying to conceive. We took the goalie out. We are having sex a lot, but it's not taking just yet. And they're feeling discouraged. They're feeling frustrated, feeling at times desperate. Like maybe we really do need to go and spend thousands upon thousands of fertility treatments. And that may be so. And if that is how you are ultimately able to have a child, more power to you. But I have had several one-on-one clients who had missing periods and or difficult periods. And they were told you wouldn't be able to have a baby unless we are to do IUI unless we do a treatment. We work on getting their period regular. We work on her food and lifestyle. and they were able to conceive naturally. So
Yeah. Amazing.
So too often I'll hear about people saying, like, my gynecologist told me we need to explore this, but there was barely any attention
Yes.
or inquiry into what her stress is like, what her food and lifestyle is like. And we've said this on past episodes about how to catch a baby. We have an episode about that, actually. There needs to be safety and nourishment in place in order for that to happen. So definitely go check that out. But I had to share this here because I hear this a lot and it breaks my heart.
Explore your options is the point. Like,
Yeah.
your gynecologist or your fertility doctor is not going to sit there and explore with you your food and lifestyle journals and go through minute to minute of your day and what you are consuming and how that is nourishing you and what else is causing you stress and how we can support your body by giving it the resources that it needs to navigate that stress better. Like, your doctor is not going to do that. Your fertility specialist is not going to do that. Diane is going to do that. She's going to run an HTMA for you and sit with you minute to minute and help you understand how to support that system better. But
Diane will do that.
Diane's going to do that.
But yeah, if your period is rough and rude, PMS is terrible, like, don't deal with that. As Adina would say, that's dumb.
It's dumb.
But really, it could be so much better. And no Shark Week. No, ma'am. No. So what are some different types of accountability and why do we need to think about them? Well, different strokes for different folks. What works for you might not work for me. So you have to know yourself, and we'll help you through these next little points here. What's going on? How do you know yourself?
Yeah, if you are in your 20s, in your 30s, maybe you're younger, maybe you're older, but I feel like most of the people who listen to the show are in their 20s or 30s, just according to the internet. I feel like most people at this point in life kind of know the type of accountability that they need to help them see things through, but I do think some people are still figuring this out. Like, some people think like, oh, I am a huge procrastinator, or, oh, I have ADHD, or, oh, I can't do it. I just can't get things done. And sometimes it comes down to maybe you just haven't cracked the case on the type of accountability that you do best with. Maybe you've had like one or two experiences in your life where you're like, I did so great in those situations and I'm not quite sure why, but maybe talking through these things can help you to explore a little bit about that and a little bit of like, what are the types of accountability that are out there? What might you be looking for based on that? And then we can help give you a glimpse into some of the ways that we work with women and how we fold in different types of accountability into our containers, into our programs and such, to kind of speak to a lot of these different needs to help you get the best results that you can.
Yes, totally. Yeah, what kind of accountability do you need and what kind of support? Because I have some clients who are like, I know myself. I am, if you think of Gretchen Rubin, I think it was her 4 tendencies. Maybe you are someone who's an upholder. You can DIY. Maybe you're someone who prefers to be an obliger. You want a coach to tell you what to do. Or maybe you're a rebel and you just need to arrive at some decision or way of doing things on your own time. And maybe you are somebody who wants a lot of information. You're a questioner type. So there are quizzes on which one to find, which one to figure out you are. Oh my God, words are hard.
Words are
to
so
help
hard,
you figure out which tendency
who
you have.
you be.
Yeah, and who you be and why you be that way.
I heard you say
Do I need carbs?
Probably, me too. I need sleep also. I heard you say Gretchen Rubin, and I knew we were talking about accountability, but for some reason it registered as Gretchen Wieners, and I was like, where's she going with this?
Or did you hear Rubin and not only think of yourself, but Rubin? Are you for scuba? And along came Polly.
I am very for scuba these days. I'm like out here Googling like where are the best waves in Israel now that we're watching all these shows.
You are for surfing.
I am for surfing. I am for scuba.
Yeah. So some quizzes like that can help you figure out your personality type and what support and what accountability. Oh my gosh, accountability you need. Am I tongue-tied?
We're doing it. We're doing the stuff and the things. Okay, so the first type of accountability is you got to really be accountable for this one. Like, you're the type of person who just kind of gets it done. You just need accountability to yourself. You're like, I make a commitment, I put it on my calendar. If you're that type of person, I would definitely recommend that you block it off so people can't book over it.
If you're a Virgo, you might be here.
Yeah, like if you're gonna do it that way, then get on with your bad self. Go get it done. Just put it on your calendar and let's go. You know.
Also, this can be helpful for people who prefer accountability to themselves, but also to all types here, and that is limit the opinions. So are you someone who's constantly researching or procrastinating and avoiding the work by constantly just looking at what's out there, what different creators are offering? So maybe that is you muting or unfollowing or just limiting the sources that you are seeking information from. That can be helpful if you are trying to increase or foster better accountability to yourself.
One thing I want to say about this, because you just like made me think of it, is there are always people in our DMs who are like, how is your program different from this person's?
Phrases that make my skin want to immediately crawl off my body because I'm like, I don't know who this is. I don't know who does.
Does your program incorporate stuff that this person talks about? And I'm like, I don't know.
First of all, I don't know them. And maybe they think because, wow, do you hear Doug snoring? And maybe they
no, but I
think
probably
because
will
we
when I edit.
cover similar topics that there must be overlap and that we all must know each other, but we often don't. So we don't know what's there.
Yeah.
We don't know the difference.
I know stuff about Diane's program and I know stuff about my program.
And that's why I refer to STHH, because I'm like, I know what's going on in there. So I like when people say, I've been doing STHH. I'm like, okay, cool.
Okay, check. The strength training is covered. Let's just dial in.
No more
nutrition.
questions.
Yeah, no further questions. Yeah, so don't do that. But again, just for you, like, are you researching every single person's course out there or every single person's program out there?
And saving all their swipe posts.
Saving everyone's posts, listening to every podcast, and then being like, I got this. Just make a decision. Just pick a coach that you jive with and sign up. If it's us, cool. We'd love to help you. But just don't be in our DMs asking how our program is different or similar from other people.
I mean, the age of the internet, right? Like, we have so much information and so many people at our fingertips, which can be great, but also scary and feel, for lack of better words, schizophrenic. I guess, like, there's just so many voices. And I imagine, like, what if 40 years ago you had all of these people, all these influencers, all of these health coaches, or let's be honest, like health influencers who maybe aren't a coach, but giving coaching and supplement advice on Instagram, like all of them in a room, and they're all telling you what to do.
They're
or
just
not
yelling
to do.
at you.
And you're like, oh my God, everyone shut up. It's hard to think with that noise, and it's hard to move with that noise when you have all these different opinions and programs through free avenues. It sounds like it's a lot of value, but what ends up happening for some women is that they end up consuming versus moving. Consuming versus moving, and then they say they're procrastinating, but they're researching, and then they just get stuck in that loop. So that is where we would recommend to all of you to just audit the opinions and the amount of information in your sphere.
Yeah, do that.
So some people need to keep accountability through making an investment. So they are needing to make an investment or be accountable to their bank account. So they need to make an investment. And for some, this can be something small. Maybe it's a little bit amount of an investment and they're just testing the waters with a course or going to a live class or a live workshop. This also gives you an opportunity to test on a coach and just see if it's a good fit for you. I've done this before too, where I've attended a business coach's live class, and maybe I didn't end up investing with them, might have learned something, learned that maybe either they weren't for me or maybe walked away with some kind of quick win, right? Other times, maybe I have decided that I want to really go in and keep myself accountable, put more skin in the game, and I've hired a business coach or even a health practitioner to help me with my goals. And it might have scared me a little bit when I made that investment, like, ooh, but every time I've made like a 5-figure investment, sometimes even, I have made such leaps and bounds improvement in my health or in my business when I was able to do that. So it can be scary, but exciting, and ultimately kept me really accountable in those scenarios.
Yeah, scary and exciting. That's where you want your investment to live. I think, yeah, I'm like you also. Like, I've seen it on the client side of things. There are some people that like just a little cash will do it. They just need to put a little cash to it, and then they're like, okay, I'm doing this. And on the other end of it, I've had women who have signed up for, like, I used to offer a $49 program, and they've signed up for that. And then they'd be like, oh, I didn't really complete it. And then they've signed up for STHH, the course, you know, they've spent like over $400 and they still didn't show up. And then finally they paid for Plus coaching and then showed up to the live calls. So it's interesting to see just like the buyer's journey too, and how people behave. This is really funny. I just thought of this. So around COVID time, I put out like a free program. If you all remember this, whoever's been here since then, I had a free program that was like a downloadable PDF, and I put it out there on the internet. I knew a lot of people were at home. It was kind of like a thing I was doing to help the community. And then as things started to shift and change in my offers and the way that people can work with me and get strong with me, I took down that PDF. And every time I am in an active launch of STHH and I'm talking about it on my stories every day and I'm posting about it, I always get a few emails from people who downloaded that free program like 3 years ago requesting access to it. And it's like they did not do the program, and then they get this little reminder that I'm like telling people how to get strong, and they're like, oh, let me download that again.
Let me unbury this from my downloads.
Yeah. And so if you're behaving like that, you might need
different accountability,
a little skin in the game. It's interesting. It is interesting out there.
It is. I think when you pay attention, and I mean, my earlier example illustrated, like, sometimes people are totally new to working with a coach online, and they really do want to feel it out. They want to download my free gut health guide and just see if we even vibe like on the same nutrition philosophy. Like, I've had some vegetarians who maybe are kind of curious, but then they realize, oh, we wouldn't be a good fit. And so thanks, no thanks. But they decide that they're on their way and we're not a good match. A motorcycle? Really?
Not a motorcycle.
Okay. Folks, we've heard today a lawnmower, a motorcycle, and a car alarm. So that was great.
For your listening pleasure.
Yeah. Background effects. Oh, and Doug snoring. Of course, Doug snoring. So yeah, I remember the first time that I spent like less than $100. It might have been like $67 on like how to get started on social media. So this was a while ago. Like, I want to say 2014. I was still very much like a personal Instagram, but I was like, I want to share more about like food and nutrition stuff I'm learning. And I was like, oh, that is a big investment. I learned some stuff, but I didn't even complete the course, I don't think, in that scenario. But I wanted to test out this coach. And then later, having either a business coach, or when I've worked with a mindset coach, my friend Topsy, or hired someone to look at my labs in the past, that was a much bigger investment, but it was also more support, more accountability, which now we want to talk about, do you need a coach to keep you accountable? And do you need a coach to support you? Is that the level of support that you need or that you just desire?
Yeah.
I have had some clients or people who want to work together, and they're like, well, do I need to do root cause reset, or can I do one-on-one? And most women do start with my root cause reset course, but then I have some people who want to go straight to one-on-one. They're like, I love premium like coaching containers. I like that close proximity. I like knowing that someone is watching and who is going to check in with me regularly. And so for that person, they think that having that coach one-on-one is what they need. That's the best outcome for them.
Yeah. And some people, like, having a coach isn't enough. They really need that in-person like appointment so they don't disappoint someone. Like, if you're that person, then STHH might not be for you, or the club might not be for you. Like, I think we do have live calls now, which is really exciting. And we're going to talk a little bit more about at the end about what fall is going to look like around here for both of us.
Yeah, a little preview.
And for our clients. Yeah. But I've had people who have done STHH and they've been like, loved it, learned so much, but now I just really think I need some in-person accountability. Like I need to show up to a gym and have someone waiting for me. Can you help me find a trainer that aligns with your values in XYZ state? And if it's somewhere that I know someone, like I'm always happy to help you find a good fit. But you got to know you. You got to know if a online program is going to work for you. That being said, some people have a perception of what an online program might be like if they've never done it before. So it can be different than what you think and can offer you more than you thought it could if you have not had that experience before and your only experience with like fitness was in-person one-on-one personal training, or if your only experience with nutritional or functional medicine was like going into someone's office for XYZ appointments. You might not know how much more you like this time freedom that you get with someone who's kind of more available to you via the internet. But yeah, it's important to consider if that's a deal breaker for you or if you don't know if it is or not.
Totally. I love that you mentioned that, and it for both fitness and for nutritional therapy, because I have had people reach out like, oh, well, maybe I'll find someone local to me who's a nutritional therapist who can run the HTMA and interpret it well, and do GI map stool testing. Or maybe I'll find someone who can coach me down with kettlebells and who's aware of pelvic floor health and hormone health in person.
Good freaking luck.
There are some of them out there, but they are few and far between. I mean, there are a few practices locally here in Grand Rapids who, yes, they offer some of the same tests that I do to my one-on-one clients, but the way that they use them, ooh, baby, I have audited some protocols, and I don't want to name them either, but there's this one, I've had several people come to me after they were given like, here, take these like 30 supplements indefinitely, and they just tack on so many appointments. It's just so cumbersome, and yeah, people don't necessarily approach it the same way. Like, I want routines to work smarter, not harder. And then I don't want you to have to sit in a crusty old waiting room, sit in traffic, only to sit in that crusty waiting room when we could just hop
sit
on
in my Zoom waiting room.
Yeah, we can just sit on Zoom. So I think sometimes people have this perception of what, like, oh, I need to be in person because that's traditional. Maybe they also want to see if their insurance will cover it. But oftentimes in the functional space and functional testing space, it's not, unless you have a good FSA, HSA. That's another conversation.
Wait, it's funny that you were saying that about kettlebell coach, because I actually just met someone I was chatting with who she was asking me about what I do for work. It was someone in like the pelvic health space. And I described my job and she goes, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. And I was like, it's not. I made it.
Thanks, I made it. It is now. I saw a gap and I am filling it.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
Exactly, right? Oh my, Doug, I really need you to lay on your back.
Doug, come on. We're almost done, dude.
People are like, does he sleep on your bed? I'm like, no, because he's 18 pounds and he sounds like an adult human man when he snores.
A drunk adult human man.
Yes.
With like sleep apnea.
With sleep, he needs a CPAP, doesn't he? So yes, if you are someone who thinks I need to see someone in person, that might be true. But also, we would invite you to consider what it's like to work with the right coach online. And I have someone who's in the UK who just did a cross-pond move. We worked together with Week of One-on-One Coaching, and I'm also working with someone who's mid-travel, and we did Week of One-on-One Coaching, and it was just so much more flexible. I've worked with 2 hairstylists in that container, Week of One-on-One, and they are on their feet. They have packed schedules, right? But we're able to text and audio, and she didn't have to come to a long Zoom call, and she didn't have to sit through traffic. So it can be a lot more accessible than you think.
Yeah, it's like instead of the hairstylist taking her smoking break, she's taking her Voxer nutritionist break.
Yes, that's right. Well, I want them to like take that break and have a snack, because I know a lot of stylists who don't get that time. So the last way that you could be accountable to a coach is completing check-ins for them, or completing your workout in an app. And I think we're going to talk about that furthermore. Furthermore, it's Monday.
Yeah. RSVPing to live events too. Like now inside of the SDHH Club, there is such a wonderful, the app is so wonderful that you can just RSVP to live events, add them to your calendar. And I know that has been definitely holding more people accountable, because the live calls have been full in a way that they were not before.
Right, because before it was like harder to see, and now it like takes me to my Google Calendar. which is nice.
Takes you there, and then it tells you like we're starting soon. You get emails, you get notifications. So that has definitely been really helpful and a great layer of accountability for a lot of people.
I know you do this. I do this also with one-on-one clients and in Root Cause Reset Plus coaching. But when you're accountable to a coach, you're doing the check-ins, but we also invite our clients to share wins and to practice looking for progress, especially if you're someone who was in pain for a long time, who was dealing with bubble guts or tough periods for a long time. Maybe you have just been used to noticing things that are going wrong or things that aren't where you want them to be yet. And as coaches, it is our job to make the plan and the blueprint that's going to work for you, but also to help you see what you're capable of and to celebrate you too.
Yeah.
So we invite our clients to share wins, even if they're small ones, even if it's just like, yeah, I took a poop today. I took my supplements this morning.
Huge, Diane.
I did half my workout. Like, letting yourself be seen and celebrated. So I'll ask my clients if we're one-on-one in Voxer, like, what's going well today and where's somewhere that you need support. But you can't skip the win, and you can't say, oh, well, I did this, but it had this oil, and then but. Like, celebrate a win, because we want you to practice seeing that. And we also want for all of you to know that it's okay to ask for help and to be seen by a coach.
Yeah, I think something that I've been doing inside of the club has been really wonderful for me, but really wonderful for the athletes as well, is we have a lot of routines in there where we talk about our goals for the week and we talk about our wins for the week. And I am always sharing my goals and wins. Coach Veronica is sharing her goals and wins as well. And I think it's really helpful for the athletes to see realistic goals and wins. Even though we are coaches, even though we have been doing this for so long, sometimes my goal is train once this week or train twice this week or get in bed before 10. And to start to recognize like what are goals that we can be setting that other people can be holding us accountable to. What are wins that we can be celebrating that keep us coming back week after week, and making sure that we're not, like Diane was saying, all the buts that show up and the buts. I just liked hearing you say that. But. Yeah. It also reminded me, I should have shared this in What Are We Consuming? My kids have gotten obsessed with, we have an Alexa, and my kids have gotten obsessed with asking Alexa to make fart noises.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Oh, I'm sure Abe loves that.
Okay, if you have not tried this yet, she has a whole catalog of fart sounds that she can make. And she will prompt your children to purchase extension packs for the fart sounds as well. Thankfully,
can you say, Alexa, play me a I ate ice cream when I shouldn't have, and I ate ice cream without doing Root Cause Reset? Like, what does that sound like?
We gotta speak to the programmers and get this on the docket. So yes, it's hilarious, and that's the soundtrack of our home these days.
Amazing. Can you please record that for me somehow?
I will, yes.
I want to see
that. Anyways, so yes.
But
I think a child is awake. I wonder which one it is.
Oh, I know it's kind of a long epi, but it's a good one.
Hold on.
So what are some ways that you can...
1 second, I'm going to whisper right now. Hold on.
Yeah. Maybe you're someone who knows that you would benefit from buddy accountability. Like, teamwork makes your dream work. So maybe you need to be accountable to a community. And what that could look like would be maybe being able to check in with other people who are in the program, women who are doing that alongside you. So like, for example, in Root Cause Reset Plus coaching, it's a small, intimate group container, but you might find that you have something in common with someone, like you're local to someone else in the group. You have similar goals. So that's something to connect over, because yeah, we want for our friends and our family to support us no matter what. But as we shared in, I think it was How to Get Your Loved Ones Shit Together, How to Help Your Loved Ones Get Their Shit Together episode, sometimes they are just not in the same chapter, or they don't have the same goals. And so finding people that can cheer you on and who are in a similar circumstance really goes a long way for community and giving you the stamina to do the thing.
Yeah, totally.
And maybe it's an accountability buddy, and they're like, hey, did you take a poop today? Hey, did you go on your morning hot girl walk? Did you lift yet? Like, maybe it's something like that you're missing.
Yeah, find your friends. That's important.
Being accountable to an app or a course. I know you can speak to some new additions that you have here.
Yeah, I mean, always when I used to use True Coach and you would get those emails of like, you missed your workout today. Like, I know for some people that just like derailed them. For other people, that was like what they needed to see. But even just having a workout calendar, like seeing those workouts show up on your calendar, that can be really, really big for a lot of people. Again, inside of the STHH Club, there's a lot of accountability built in there, and seeing those routines, seeing everyone sharing wins, everyone sharing goals, seeing add this live event to your calendar, then you will get a reminder an hour before. You will get a reminder a few minutes before. If you log in, you will see like Adina is live, show up, here's the call.
I love that it sends an email, a push notification, because in the old setup, I don't think I got those, and I would try to put them on my calendar, but sometimes the extra little shove or love and shove reminder is nice.
Yeah.
Yes. And for my course, so whether that, or my program, whether that's Root Cause Reset, the self-paced course, or plus coaching, everyone gets reminders throughout the curriculum, like, hey, did you do your NAC, your nutritional assessment questionnaire that you're gonna need for week 2? Hey, did you do your food journal yet? Or if you are using supplements, maybe you want to think about refilling them, or here's where you can check those out. So it will check in with people and just let them know maybe where they should be along the way. And I'm also going to be building in implementation weeks, because sometimes, you get through a couple of weeks, but you might feel like you need more time to catch up on modules. So I like to include an implementation week about halfway through to catch up or to give yourself that extra time.
Yeah, and this is awesome. This is also a lot of the, like, we always talk about how we're always learning and we're always trying to get better at what we do. And we always give our past clients surveys of like, how could we make this better? We pay attention to questions that are being asked and feedbacks that we're getting. So something that I'm doing with the remodel of STHH now also is, it used to be you would sign up for STHH and you would just get this library of all these module videos of things that could be helpful throughout the 12 weeks. And originally I thought that giving access to all of that up front was so helpful, because if someone's having back pain or they're having wrist pain, like, they need to know right now how to fix it. And if they have to wait till week 8 to figure out how to fix that, like, that's going to suck for them. But I actually restructured things so that it's like you get access to this on week 1 and this on week 2 and this on week 3, so that it's not this overwhelm of like, but when do I watch the videos? If I'm doing the training, like, how do I know when to watch these videos? So based on that feedback, I am restructuring things to hold you accountable to a drip module schedule where you get access to things as you go, and kind of have a little more guidance around when to watch what, because that's something I think it might be fun if we share the kind of accountability that we do best with. I know Diane mentioned investment, because that's a big thing for me too.
Mine's investment and coaching. And this, it used to be that I craved group containers, like where it was, I don't know, like bi-weekly coaching calls and we're in a group. But right now I like a hybrid where I'm working with a coach one-on-one, but also have like a small keyword community versus like this massive community of so many voices. That's just feeling more expansive and helpful for me right now.
Yeah, me too. And so the things that have really been working for me, I've kind of been paying attention to the stuff that's worked for me over the last few years. And so it's definitely been investment. It has to be a big investment for me to really
a scary but
up.
exciting one. I think I texted you for something that I recently invested in, and I was like, oh, like, I know that I need this and it aligns on so many goals, like, but it's an investment, but I know it's going to take me to the next level and like really help me reach my goals in my business. Like, needed it, or I needed to invest in someone to help me look at my labs, because while I know things, while I know how to do this and look at labs, like, it was just too much to do all on my own, too much on my plate.
Yes, too much on the plate. So for me, it's definitely investment. For me, it is definitely simplicity. Like, I do not want, I don't want someone throwing the kitchen sink at me. I don't care how good they are at what they do. I don't care how organized they are. If it makes me feel crazy when I look at their modules, or when I get messages from them, or when I see their coaching, I am just like, no, I need someone to talk to me like I am in kindergarten. And I'm like, that makes me thrive. And also, I notice the other thing for me is really like actionable to-do items. I love like, this week you need to do this and I'll see you next week. And then next week you need to do this, and I'll see you the week after that. Like, I like really simple, actionable, and just
yes,
give
like
me a to-do
explain
list.
it to me like I'm 5. Simple. I love that you said that. It made me think of 2 things. I love the same thing, and we both have invested in some business coaching courses or even further education around metabolic health labs, right? Where, okay, I know this stuff is great, but like there's so much of it that we were overwhelmed, and we just found that we weren't even like the continuing ed that we've done before, found that we didn't even want to look at it because it was so crazy. Or some business coaching stuff where on their marketing end, there might be like, oh, we have hours and hours and hours of videos and resources. And you're like, I don't have hours and hours and hours of patience or time to watch this. So that was a no for me. So like how I've implemented that into my course and containers is we're keeping it simple. Yeah, maybe you kind of know some of these things, but are you doing them? We're making them shorter. I've had some women recently too came to me after being in like courses that equate value with volume or volume with value, and they have a lot at their fingertips, but making sense of it, they didn't have the bandwidth for it. So we really simplified things. And then the second thing I was going to think of was, when you talk about a lot on your plate, I used to have a lot of different things at Root Cause Reset, the course curriculum, but trying to think of different learning styles, and that if we're feeling this way, chances are our clients are. We love when they give us feedback, like this is what would make this better for me. But I also had someone audit the curriculum because I thought, maybe there are some people who at the end of a module, they want to know you have to be able to do this, this, and this before you move on to the next module. It's not necessarily better to have so much information at your fingertips, especially if we talk about like you're saving all those swipe posts. You don't want to necessarily go into a course or a coaching program and have hundreds of videos. Where do you even start?
Yeah, that's full circle on this episode. I was just thinking about like one of the things that sets the podcast apart from a course that is curated to get you from point A to point B is like the podcast. This is our 97th episode. They are all over an hour long. We can run our mouths, like we have fun here. We love to just have conversations around these topics and just chat about it. Just chat about it all. But if we actually want to get you from point A to point B, like the thing about our courses and our programs is that here's a sign of true brilliance is being able to take all the shit that you have ever learned that is floating around in your head and organize it into really easily digestible bullet points and modules that anyone can understand and anyone can get results with. So
beginner or advanced alike, right?
Yeah.
Like how many people have told you I've done strength training before? Like, yeah, you may have, but then like you keep it simple and you get results. Or
we're going to change your mind about some things.
Yeah.
That was some feedback I was getting too. Like, again, this is kind of morphed into a completely different episode, but I have changed STHH quite a few times, just sort of like A/B testing certain training days, or when I learn new things, I'm like, oh, this drill will be really helpful. And it got to a point where when I taught the Turkish Get Up, which is a really complex lift that has a lot of moving parts, and there was one iteration of the program where I put so many drills on the Turkish Get Up day that it ended up making clients feel so discouraged because I was like, oh, here, I'm helping them. I'm giving them everything they could possibly know about the Turkish Get Up. And all of a sudden, no one was getting through that workout.
Oh,
and
I may have been there.
Yeah, suddenly they were like, oh no, I feel so unsuccessful because I'm trying to learn this new thing and it's taking me so long. And now I'm like, am I dumb? Like, what? How do I do this? And so
You're not
a big
dumb.
shift that has come is learning to pare that down and be like, okay, how can I get them to learn enough about this lift to train it without feeling like I can't get through this workout because I have to watch these videos so many times and I have to do so many things and I have to, so
Totally.
It's a balance to find, but that's the magic of doing this and thinking about these things all the time and getting feedback from our clients and having this thirst for making our programs better and better and better and getting people from point A to point B where they want to go as simply as we possibly can.
That's right. I know that's right. And this last bit before we move on to what's coming, and when you were talking there, it reminded me of how I approach labs, reading them, assessing them, making recommendations based on those labs, and one-on-one client plans. So in the past, like when I started doing GI map gut stool testing, like we'd come out with this intense protocol, which is maybe indicated in some scenarios, but after the pandemic and all of the stress that people are under, and what I saw with my clients as far as what's effective, what we needed was something a lot more pared down. So now I approach lab results and custom wellness plans one-on-one with phases. So people can move through them if they feel like they have more bandwidth to layer in new recommendations versus starting with everything out the gate. So that gives them time to acclimate, to adjust, to see if they have a reaction to a supplement if they are using one. So I'm finding, based on the feedback from clients, that that's just a lot more approachable and gives them a more sustainable approach. Now, the last thing as far as accountability is there are some data-driven gals out there who feel like they do need that one-on-one and lab results or lab receipts, because they might not take the stress that they're under seriously until they see the physical toll that it has on their body, on their minerals. I have a couple case studies in mind, and I'll love and shove them, like say, I think you're under a lot of stress. And they're like, no, it's fine. I've been doing this for years.
I'm Gucci.
And then we get a fast 1 or fast 4 or slow 4 metabolic type. This is on the HTMA, the hair test we run. And then we see, oh, girl, you are churning and burning that magnesium. And they're like, oh, I guess I'm under stress and I've just gotten used to it. Or I've had some folks who are like, I don't know if I need that supplement. And then I'm able to show them, yes, you in fact do. Or,
very do.
Or, the thing that you thought was thinging that wasn't working, it was actually because these minerals over here, they're acting out, which is causing. And so sometimes people like to see that, or to feel validated that way. So that's something to keep in mind. If you are someone who needs that, then maybe you got to jump on over to one-on-one with lab testing.
Yeah. And the last one I want to mention is just some people need accountability to a specific goal. I think, especially when it comes to training, like sometimes it needs to be, I really want to do X thing. Maybe it's a pull-up, maybe it's a push-up, maybe it's press a specific weight or something of the like. But for some people, in order to keep showing up, they really need to have their eye on the prize. Like they need to know what they are working towards, not just like, I want to get stronger.
I want to build a strong, meaty, functional ass.
Yes, like that one works for some people too. But maybe it needs to be measurable of like, here is a skill I cannot do right now and I need to be able to do soon.
Yes, I love it. So we've covered so much in this episode.
This episode was a bit unhinged.
Late luteal phase over here. It's late at night over there at Adina's house.
I'm so tired. We need to wrap this up.
We'll wrap it up. So we did want to share with you what's coming for fall, because we're getting some questions like, when is RCR Plus coaching coming back? Oh, I'll tell you. How else can we work with you? If you have listened to this episode, you know now what support and accountability you need. Let's get to it, baby. So here's what we're cooking up for back to school season.
Back to school.
Few things.
Back to class.
Yeah. So especially with that back to school, back to the fall season in mind, Adina and I are both working on some classes.
Some classes.
Some workshops that we've never done before. And we're not going to do after this. After we announce this in the next week or so, we're not going to be doing it for the rest of the year. So be get in there or be sick. I don't know.
Yeah. Get in there or be weak. I don't know.
What it was like.
Get in there or pee your pants. I don't know.
Don't miss out. Don't miss out. So we are cooking up some stuff behind the scenes, some classes for you. And it won't be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to sit down and hear Charlie Brown voice in the background. We're going to have fun.
How hilarious is that, by the way?
Like, that's exactly what I think of. Like, oh, I'm going to sit down and learn about my hormones, like fucking snore. We're going to make this edutainment.
No.
Yeah.
We're going to have a blast.
We're going to have a blast. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a preview of how to get coached up through the holidays. Adina, what do you have on deck for the last quarter of the year?
Do I want to spoil the surprise?
I feel like if they made it to the end, I think you should maybe give them.
They deserve it. They listen to all this shit that I served them up today. Okay, you have been asking. You have been asking for like 2 years. And here we go. Coming back to the internets near you, STHH plus coaching. How freaking exciting is that?
Has it really been like 2 years?
Yeah, the last round was when I moved. Oh no, 1 year. It's been 1 year.
Feels
But
like 2
the
years.
doors were opened for the last time, like a year and a half ago. We wrapped in July last year. That was the last round of STHH plus coaching.
Damn.
And man, it's so fun to take one curated group of women from 0 to 100 over the course of like 12 to 13 weeks. We restructured STHH a little bit, so I'll have some more details coming to you soon, but you're going to see me on live. You're going to see Coach Veronica, who's just the freaking best. We love her. And it's going to be so fun. I cannot wait. So
Ooh.
that is like, so good. And like we were talking about with all this accountability, like some people might be like, oh, I have to be on live. Like I can't do that in my busiest season. But I've had many clients who in their busiest season, that was the only way that they were making time for themselves and making time for their workouts, was if they knew there was a live call that they could show up to, plug in, plug out. They didn't have to like do it on their own. Yeah. So that, and then like we were talking about, sometimes that bigger investment, that plus coaching investment where you have live calls, you have closer proximity, communication. It just makes you show up for yourself in a way that you don't when you pay a couple $100, you know?
That's facts. So STHH plus coaching, is there going to be an option for the DIY girlies who just want to do STHH self-paced?
Mm-hmm. The STHH complete restructure 2.0 version of the program. It's all coming around the same time. So if you want to go for plus coaching, you can. If you want to just go for the new and improved STHH self-paced, you are good to go there. And if you've already done STHH self-paced or plus coaching in the past, and you've been thinking about like, should I sign up for the club? Yeah, you freaking should.
That's
it's
for
so
alumni
fun.
only. Alumni
Yes.
only.
And in September, we are starting our pull-up program. So we're going to be hanging from that bar. We're going to be doing all kinds of drills to prep the shoulder, T-spine, core, pelvic floor, all the stuff. So if you've been like, my specific goal is that I would like to learn how to do a pull-up in 2023, 2024. I'm going to be very
gym
honest
class
with you,
redemption.
by the way. It takes time to learn pull-ups. So you are making a long-term commitment. I mean, you're making a month-to-month commitment because you can cancel anytime. But if you really want to accomplish this goal, you better keep showing up for yourself.
Super fun. So a few ways. So I love that you have a few different options based on where people are at or what kind of support and accountability they need. In a similar vein, I'm doing a similar approach here. So Root Cause Reset, that is my signature program for nutritional therapy. If you want to level up your digestion, get rid of bubble guts, food intolerances, we got to send those packing. Low energy, rough and rude periods, then this is a great and most popular place to start for most of my clients is Root Cause Reset. And we have the DIY self-paced version, but also coming back in September would be Root Cause Reset plus coaching, which is the group live community aspect. But I'm also adding another tier I'll get to in a second. But the last time this came out was in January of 2023. And I love that it was an intimate small group container and everyone had so much access to support, to accountability. We had monthly live coaching calls and some other bonuses too. But this only comes out a couple times per year. So if you would like some live coaching and blend of like one-on-one support and group support and accountability, that is the place for you. Now I'm also adding on an extra element because been getting in a rhythm with HTMA, hair and tissue mineral analysis. That will be an add-on option. So if you want to include hair testing with your plus coaching enrollment, then that'll be something that we can do. And we can see all the secrets your hair holds and really customize your program and your maintenance mode based on what your hair is saying, what your minerals are doing or not doing. So we have a few options. And I know that some people have told me like, I'm more inclined to just DIY and I can go at my own pace, or I really in this season would love your personal and professional insight into what I'm doing, or I really want to have some community. I don't really vibe with friends or family on this journey and want to have some people alongside you. That is the way to do it. So We'll have some tasty bonuses. We're going to do some tapping again because that's what we did the last Plus coaching round, some EFT tapping sessions alongside the other nutritional therapy work we're doing. Going to get you constipation free, both physically and emotionally. That's important. Release those things from your tissues. And then we also have the HTMA option. So that's what we're cooking up. And this will be the last time that Plus coaching for Root Cause Reset is open for 2023. So get in there, snooze or lose, Super excited.
Get in there or be weak and farty.
We don't want you weak or farty. Yeah. And let's get you started on that successful ice cream reintroduction. Get you ready for ice cream grad school.
Was I mean this episode? Is everything okay?
Where are you in your cycle?
I'm approaching ovulation, but not,
Maybe it's the lack of sleep. And, we always bring some love and shove here, some good cop, bad cop. Is that what it is?
Yeah, you were the good cop today, so I guess I just had...
I am definitely the snarky cop on a lot of episodes, let's be real.
All right, we gotta go. Unclench your beehole and...
Drink your water.
And get yourself the accountability that you need.
Yes. We'll see
Okay,
you.
we love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the GYST podcast. As always, your ratings and reviews mean the world to us.
If you enjoyed this episode, take a second, take a little screenshot, throw it up on your Instagram story, and tag us so we can thank you properly for sharing this show with other women that it might help.
See you next week. We love you. Bye.